What is a humanist ceremony? Human beings have always marked the important events of life, like births and marriages, and commemorated people who have died. We do it still today, and for those of us with no religious beliefs, it's important that we can mark these occasions with honesty, warmth and affection, using words and music that are appropriate. A humanist ceremony is a meaningful non-religious occasion created specifically for the people involved to be personally meaningful. It is conducted by a trained celebrant with the skills and experience required to bring significance to every ceremony and who works closely with families to create it. Humanist funerals bring people together to express and share sadness, but also to celebrate the life lived in a way that is simple and sincere. They are carefully written to ensure they are inclusive of all present. People often say afterwards how moving, sincere and fitting they found the ceremony and how much they appreciated its authenticity. A humanist wedding is a celebration of shared commitment based entirely on the unique aspects of the relationship of the couple. Couples have the freedom to write their own promises to each other. Humanist namings are reflections and acknowledgements of the joy, wonder and responsibility of bringing a child into the world, which involve not just parents, but family and friends. They are chosen by parents who want the opportunity to celebrate, but also want their child to be able to decide for themselves as they get older what they do or don't believe about religion. In an age where more and more people live their lives without religion, humanist ceremonies offer a contemporary way of satisfying the timeless need to bring significance to life's big changes.
Good morning or good afternoon, Year 1, and it's so lovely for you all to be joining us for some more home learning. Now, in this lesson today, looking at humanism, we're going to be looking at humanist celebrations. In particular, we're going to be looking at naming ceremonies. So let's have a look. So a naming ceremony is a non-religious ceremony. It celebrates the arrival of a new human being. So let's see it in action.
Hi, I'm Ken.
I'm Zoe.
We're here for a humanist baby naming ceremony for our youngest daughter, Elsie. We wanted to recognise Elsie in some way. We'd done it with our eldest daughter, Amelia. Having a summer baby seemed only sensible to have a humanist ceremony in a park.
My name's Elizabeth Donnelly, and I'm a humanist naming celebrant. A naming ceremony is fantastic because it's all this family and friends coming together to celebrate this new arrival. It's wonderful. Essentially, my job is to help the parents celebrate the arrival of their child. So a couple will contact me. Sometimes, obviously, we have single parents, so I'll meet the parents. We will then have a conversation about what they want from the day, and then I go away and write a ceremony.
When we first read that draft script, it was dripping with emotion, it was heartfelt, it was touching. She'd done a lot of good research around readings, because we had no idea about readings.
No, not for children.
Not for children, and so she made some great suggestions for readings. For us, it really mirrored and reflected what we wanted the day to feel like.
I'm usually there to help set up, to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing when they're doing it. So I like to meet anyone else involved in the ceremony.
Then straight in really to blowing up balloons.
And then bringing them out here and sitting on chairs and picnic rugs, and then Elizabeth started.
I welcomed everyone. Ken gave a lovely reading.
I read a poem about a second child, and even though you've already got one and it's very busy, it makes the second child no less special. Because although it's not the same, it's every bit as special.
The first song that we chose was The Circle of Life from The Lion King. I love musicals and it was quite special to us.
And then we had three mentors, Rachel, Matt and Chris.
As your uncle, I feel really honoured to be your mentor.
What we like to say with mentors is that sometimes children need to have the support and guidance of adults who are not their parents.
It was a nice touch. It was something personal from them to Elsie.
And then your mum did a reading.
Let your life be a long one and brimming with fun.
I particularly was quite fond of our sort of ceremonial moment of the hanging of the cut leaves in the tree.
They were given leaves cut out from paper so that they could write their best wishes for Elsie and the family.
That was actually quite a touching moment, I think, for me.
And that's what makes it unique, because it's their child, it's their naming, and I want to celebrate that.
The best thing about today was Ken was able to come here to where he works and have a choice about where he had his baby's naming ceremony.
They still want to celebrate the fact that their child has come into the world, and I thought that the Humanist service was an excellent way of doing that.
If someone asked me why they should have a baby naming ceremony, my response would be the day is yours.
You're not confined.
It's completely bespoke. Everything's tailored from top to toe.
So a naming ceremony is a great way for humanists to celebrate the arrival of a new baby into the world. So I want you thinking about, how do you and your family celebrate if there's arrival of a new baby? There's lots of different ways in which you can do so, and different religions have different ways in which they do it. As a humanist, they obviously do not believe in God, but they believe in caring for others and the planet and making sure that they live their best life. They find that it's important to celebrate the birth of a child with a naming ceremony, but this doesn't necessarily come at the beginning of a child's life. So I want you thinking about, how did your family celebrate your arrival? Maybe you had a christening. Maybe they had a party. I want you to ask your parents, what did they do to celebrate your arrival? Now, naming ceremonies are special. They bring a family together. Family and friends come together to celebrate one of life's key milestones. Being born and having this celebration is a very important milestone, especially in humanism. They are ideal for families who want to mark the occasion in a special way that isn't religious. It provides the opportunities for those gathered together to reflect on the roles that people will play in the child's life. A naming ceremony includes various things. It depends on what the personal choice is. It can include readings, poems, music, and parental promises to the child, and sometimes the appointment of mentors or guide parents who will also look after the child and guide them in life. It is becoming an increasingly popular way of welcoming a child into the world without a religious ceremony. In a naming ceremony, they recognise how important every human being is and how they have the potential to contribute to the good and progress of humanity. They acknowledge and celebrate the community and family and friends through love and support of the new family member. If you want to have a look at some other naming ceremonies, we will put the links on the document for you. Well, so who are naming ceremonies for? Well, naming ceremonies are a perfect thing for the newborns or toddlers. They're often combined with a first birthday celebration, sometimes when the child is a bit older, to start to appreciate what it's all about. They don't have to be limited to young children. They can actually be held at any point in your life. There is no rush. It can be held when you're ready. For older children, it can be seen as a rite of passage, celebration of growing and maturity. They can also be the perfect way to welcome adopted children or stepchildren into a family. So naming ceremonies are not limited to birth. They can be held whenever the family choose to celebrate that person. Sometimes they have joint naming ceremonies for siblings. Sometimes families choose to combine their wedding and naming ceremonies together so that they have one big celebration of life. It can be a wonderful option for families who marry after their children have been born. So there's lots of different places that people can celebrate their naming ceremonies. It can actually be held wherever you want, in your house, park, garden, anywhere that you want to celebrate. There is no limit to where you can celebrate a naming ceremony. And they're becoming increasingly popular in a range of places. Each naming ceremony is unique. They might include music, singing, poems, readings. They often have a parental promise and the appointment of the guide parents or mentors. And sometimes they have a symbolic action, such as planting a tree, signing certificates, or writing in a wish book. So we're going to have a look at some of the different things that people might do to make their naming ceremony unique. Here are some ideas that people had for their child's naming ceremony. Sometimes they might sign a naming ceremony certificate, have a photo in which lots of people sign and witness the occasion. They might make commitments to the child, promises, and it can be kept as a memento. They might create a time capsule or a memory box with lots of things from that day, newspaper articles, recorded messages, gifts to be opened when they get to an older age. And then it could be sealed and buried until an important birthday like their 18th. A lot of people like to plant a tree. Humanists are very caring towards the planet, and then sometimes they want to plant a tree in commemoration of the special occasion. And they often choose to do it together as a family. Sometimes it might not be a tree. They might plant seeds or bulbs as well. Sometimes they like to send off balloons, but it depends on the family. They might often light a candle, or they may create something called a wish tree, where they write promises, words of advice, good wishes, and hang it on a tree, and then collect after the ceremony to keep for the child's special day. So there are lots of different ways in which families can celebrate a naming ceremony to make it unique to them and their child. So can you remember any of the symbolic things that they might do for a naming ceremony? I want you to have a think. Can you remember any of the things they said? You're going to put me on pause and have a little think, see if you can remember. Okay, tell me your ideas. Very good. They might plant a tree or a seed. They might write in a book. They might hand things off a tree. They could send off balloons, light a candle, take some photos. Fantastic. You remembered so many. Well done, everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a naming day celebration invitation. Now, yours doesn't have to be for yourself. It could be for a made-up person. Maybe you want to do it for your teddy, okay? You're going to create an invitation that brings someone to your naming day. Now, I want you to remember all the different ways in which a naming day could be celebrated. I want you to think of one that you're going to pick to celebrate in your invitation. Maybe you want to do the planting the tree. Maybe you want to do sending off balloons. Maybe you want to do writing in a wish book. I think I might do planting a tree. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a go. All right, let's go. Great, we're ready to start our invitation. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of paper. Again, this can be plain or it can be lined, whatever you have in your house. If you want any coloured paper, then that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold mine in half. So it's a little bit like an invitation. Try and fold it neatly. Okay. now it can open up a little bit like an invitation. And I'm going to do the front first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my pencil and my ruler. Now you might want some colours as well at some point, okay? But we're going to start off in pencil. Now I'm going to draw a line so that I make it nice and neat. It's up to you whether you want to draw a line also. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write name, because this is who the invitation is going out to. Who would I like the invitation to go out to? I think I'm going to send it out to Miss Matcha. Fantastic. Now, what I need to do is I need to do my title for my invitation so that everyone knows what it's an invitation for. So I'm going to write naming ceremony, just like so. Now if I want, I can start to add some pictures. I might draw a picture of a boy over here. Perhaps I'm going to draw a picture of a girl over here. Because remember, your guest might not actually know if it's a boy or a girl yet. If the baby's just been born, they might not know. Fantastic! I've done the front of my invitation and I'm ready to open it up. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to write in our invitation. So I'm going to help you with what we need to write. The first thing we need to say is dear who it's to. So, I'm going to draw some lines to help me so that I'm ready. Now, if you want to make yours nice and neat, you can draw some lines too, or you can just go for it without the lines. It's entirely up to you, but try and use your neatest handwriting. Because remember, this is a party invitation for a naming ceremony. Now, remember, it doesn't have to be for you. It could be for your teddy bear. It could be for anybody you like. So our invitation is going to Miss Matcha. So I need to say, dear Miss Matcha. Don't forget your capital letters for Miss Matcha. And I'm going to say that you have been invited to celebrate the naming ceremony of. That's a long sentence. You have been invited to celebrate the naming ceremony of. Let's have a go. You have been invited to celebrate the naming ceremony of, and this is where you're going to write who it is. Who should I have? I think I'm going to have Teddy. I'm going to do my Teddy. Remember, you can do anybody you like. Now, I've invited them. What I need to do is tell them what's going to be happening. So I'm going to say to celebrate, we will have, and then I'm going to list some of the things that we're going to do. So I'm going to say to celebrate, we will have parental promises. Remember, that's when the mummies and daddies make promises to their baby. I think I'd like some singing at mine. Singing. Don't forget your commas because we're listing. And got my comma there. Now I'm going to say and music. Full stop. Now, I need to do something symbolic. What is the symbolic thing I want to do? I want them to plant a tree. So I'm going to say, we will also plant a tree, full stop. Now, to end an invitation, we always ask them or say, we hope that you will be able to join us. So I'm going to say, we hope you can join us. We hope you can join us. And that is your invitation done. Now is the time where you get to have a bit of fun and you can add some colour. So I'm going to show you one I did earlier where I managed to add some colour. So here we go. I added some colour, coloured it in, add a little bit of a tapestry that was blue and pink. You could add anything you want. Maybe you might like to add a tree if you're going to be doing a naming ceremony with this tree. I might have a tree added in. Maybe if you're going to do some balloons, you might want to add a balloon into it too. I might add a balloon in the middle. Here we go. Now this one I changed it and I invited Miss Bailey on this one. Remember, you can invite whoever you want to celebrate. So I might say, here we go. And that is your celebration, naming celebration done. So I've got a front cover, and then inside I've got my invitation. And I'm going to stop it there. Remember, you can pause it so that you can use mine to help you with yours. Good luck, everyone.